Welcome back. Here we are now for Unit 9, Skill 3, Level 2. We're on page 86. I'm actually going to split Level 2 into two short videos. One just for factoring x squared plus bx plus c, trinomials, where the leading coefficient is a 1. And then the other video will be the binomials. Those are two terms with difference of squares. So we'll get to that in the next video. But for now, whenever you have trinomials, so that's three terms, and if the leading coefficient is 1, so here we have 1x squared. For number 4, we have 1a squared. Okay, that's what we mean by a leading coefficient of 1. All right, so then here, what you can do is what we did in the previous video. Okay, so the goal here when you're factoring is to turn this into a product of two binomials. Okay, and so the way that you could go about doing that is take a look at the last number. Okay, so we want to find two numbers or a pair that multiply to negative 14, but now add up to positive 5. Okay, so it's essentially what we did in the previous lesson, where you're trying to find a pair of numbers that multiply to a certain number that have a sum of something else. Okay, and so we've done that. And so now you can kind of see how this is going to work. So negative 14. So again, I'm going to start with just listing the numbers that multiply to 1 or multiply to 14. So we got 1 times 14, 2 times 7, 3 doesn't work, 4 doesn't work, neither does 5 or 6, and so we're done. These are the only pairs that multiply to 14. Now, if you want to make it negative 14, then that means one of these has to be negative. Okay? One of these has to be negative. And so if they add up to 5, okay, here's kind of an easy way to do it. These have a difference of 5, and since we want to add to positive 5, you make the smaller one negative. Okay? So negative 2 plus 7 is positive 5. Negative 2 times 7 is negative 14. Okay? I always think whenever there's a negative product, so if the product is negative, think difference. So if you see a negative product like negative 14, think, okay, which of these have a difference of 5? That would be 2 and 7. And now, if I want to be positive 5, you keep the bigger number positive and make the smaller one negative. And so that's what you put in here. You put a minus 2 and a plus 7. And now this has to be x times x. Okay? All of these are going to factor. The first part is always going to be x for each binomial. And then you're just filling in the second part, negative 2, positive 7, that's going to come from this product and sum thing that we've been talking about. Okay? And you could always multiply these out to check to see that you got it right. You should be pretty competent and comfortable, either foiling or distributing, however you want to do it. But you can check. If you take x times x, you get x squared. X times positive 7 is 7x. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x, and then negative 2 times positive 7 is negative 14. And now if you combine the middle terms, that does become positive 5x, and you can see we have a match. Okay, so what we're doing, factoring, is essentially going backwards and trying to figure out what two binomials give us this trinomial when you multiply it all out. And this is how we can figure that out. Okay? You look at the last number, the c value in other words, okay? Whatever multiplies to the c value and adds up to the b value, that's what you use in here. Okay? So pretty simple. Here's our answer, and again, this is how you would check. You could multiply it back out to see if you got it right. All right, so I'll just do a couple more with this method. Let's do number 2. Okay. So if I'm looking at number 2, I know it'll be m times m. Okay. And now what I'm going to look for is from the 24, what multiplies to 24? So that would be 1 times 24, 2 times 12, 3 times 8, 4 times 6, 5 doesn't work, and we're done. So these are the only options. Okay. And now, since this number here is a positive 24, but we have a negative in the middle, the only way we get a positive product is if everything's negative. So this is the only option, is making every single one of these negative. Okay? And now you just have to figure out which of these possible pairs add up to negative 10. Hopefully you see it already. Right here at the bottom I got negative 4 and negative 6. If you add those together, you get negative 10. And so that's what we write in here. Negative 4, negative 6. In other words, m minus 4 times m minus 6 should give us m squared minus 10m plus 24. Okay, and I'll leave that to you if you want to check, but you should always be confident with these answers. And if you're not, again, check a couple of times until you get the hang of this, and then you should be okay. Let me do one more. Let's do number 6. All right. And as you get more comfortable, you can kind of start piecing together how things need to work. Okay. So we have n in the first spot. 42 is what we're working with. So multiplies to 42. I'm going to list all those numbers first. 1 and 42. 2 times 21. 3 doesn't work. Does 4 work? 13 times 4. No, that doesn't work. 5 doesn't work. 6 works. 6 and 7 works. And that's it. Okay. So 1 and 42, 2 and 21, 6 and 7. So now what we're looking for is a negative product, meaning that one of these has to be negative and one of these has to be positive. So we're thinking difference of 1. This is a 1 here in the middle. It's just a negative 1. And so that would mean that the 7 would have to be the largest negative, and then the smaller number would have to be positive. So positive 6 and negative 7. Okay? And again, 6 times negative 7 is negative 42. And if you add these together, 6 and negative 7 add up to negative 1. Okay? And so there's our answer. And hopefully you're starting to get the hang of this. There is a bunch of practice for this one. So finish that up on your own. Try all these. Ideally, you should check your work on your own to see if you got it right, but you obviously should check your answers with the answer key. All right. See you next time.